Hey guys, hope you are having a good Chinese New Year celebration so far. We'll be talking about the Marina Gardens Crescent site that was not awarded recently. This news only came out how many days ago? About 3 days ago. But when the news came out on the amount that it was bid for 984 PSFPBR, I think it was quite expected that most people would say it will not be awarded by the government. Then again, there will always be people who want it to be awarded because they want to get this piece of land cheap and hope that developers will be selling it cheap. And then there's a disclaimer also. A developer, when they get the land cheap, they may not always sell you cheap. Although they do have the leeway to go now lower, but it is not always a given because developers, being businessmen, they are not a non-profit organization. They will want to go for the highest amount of profits wherever possible. But if the market can accept, there won't be any reason why they should be selling it cheap to you, right? Of course, if the market is not doing well, then they will have the leeway to sell cheap. So that is something that you may need to think of. Sometimes if the developer don't give it to you cheap, the one that is the biggest winner is always not the consumer but the developer itself. And it happens before. Some of the developments which I shall not name here, some of the developments in recent years only completed about 1-2 years back. Previously, when it was sold, the piece of land was sold, it was really cheap, but developers still price it at a very high profit margin, and the one that benefited the most is definitely the developer. So let's just go back to this. When it first came out, a lot of people want this to there will be some people, not say a lot, there will be some people that wants it to be awarded so that they can get it cheap, right? Let's just look at some of the repercussions. This is the particular piece of land that was involved. There is a white site. There will be some estimated 6,000 square meters worth of commercial space, 700 plus of them which are residential. And of course, this is a 99-year lease because the government does not sell freehold or 999 land anymore because we need the land to be renewable in that sense for our future generation. If not, our land scar Singapore is going to cause quite a lot of troubles next time. Then we take a little bit closer look at the articles itself. This is the... I shall not go through the whole article with you guys, but some of the underlying ones, just for some context. This is the price. In fact, if you are looking at it just from a pure numbers point of view, this is like the Hugh Haven Botany, that kind of area, that sort of land. That's why if the government do award this price, I think it will be quite a shocker, which thankfully they didn't. And let's just see. The market players did not expect the tender to be awarded, so it was quite expected that the main key market players, let's just talk about those that don't really know the market that well. Most of us would have said that in fact, I was just telling some of my clients when they had this concern that we don't expect this to be awarded. If not, there's going to be quite a lot of repercussions in this market, and I don't think this is that is exactly what the government wants right now. But then again, this is what I personally think. I don't represent the government, of course. I wish I do, but we don't. All these are personal opinions, so make sure you do your due diligence before you go ahead with any opinions. Then again, this was the previous one, the one right beside the price. Just this, like how many months ago? 8 months ago. It was transacted at this PPR, and compared to this is like 30% higher for something that is older. That's why it kind of don't make sense. It can be that this is the market value that they assess it from, and that's why they don't use it. I would say it would be more rational to say that, but it's a little bit too underpriced regardless. This is the Kingsford one, which was the previous site. They bid $1+ billion for this, which is not a very big piece of land in the first place. That one can generate about 790 private homes. Then, as of now, what the plan for the one that was not awarded, Marina Gardens Crescent, anyway, the MRT is just right beside. It's going to be, obviously, MRT project, CCR. You have all these prime location, good co-location factors, MRT right beside already, and then you want to buy it at OCR and not even like a MRT OCR kind of price. I think it's a little bit far-fetched to expect people expect the government to award this because it really doesn't make sense. I mean, if you were the government, if you were the buyer, you would want the government to award it. But if you are the government, I think it's a little bit difficult to answer to the taxpayers, shareholders, which are basically all of us locals, that how do you justify selling this piece of land at this price? That's why we need to think from the many parties' point of view, especially the government's point of view, the URA's point of view. How does it make sense to even go? Later we'll talk about one article which I find is a little bit controversial. I don't really like the opinion. I'm not taking it personal. I don't really like the opinion that was expressed in that particular article. Doesn't mean that I don't like the person. It's just being objective, okay? Then this site will currently go back to the reserve list as of now based on this article, because previously last time they will keep it for review, decide whether should they park it for reserve list or should they just put it somewhere elsewhere. But now it seems that they are going to be putting it on reserve list, so let's see. Those on the confirmed list, in case those of you who want to know a little bit more about GLS, just go to Google, URA, GLS, then it will come up. There is a confirmed list, and then there's also the reserve list. Those on the confirmed list, they will definitely want to sell subject to reserve price and a lot of other factors. Because just because you bid the highest does not always mean that it will always be awarded. There will be other criteria that the government will be taking into account. Those on the reserve list, however, like this particular one that was not awarded, will go back to the so-called reserve list and then waiting for somebody that's willing to give that particular higher offer or minimum offer that the government is willing to take before it triggers. Even then, it still does not always mean that it will be awarded. And one of the reasons why it wasn't awarded, or rather the reception of this particular tender wasn't that good, I will say, like what this article imply would be the ample supply in a sense that there are a few other developments in the CCR area that has been launching and not doing as well, especially the Skywaters. All these they are not going to be expecting too much. Skywater, Newport, all these they're not going to be expecting too much hype up demand, and then and as such, if the developers are going to be taking this piece of land, what will be their concern? Will they be able to sell it out in time, especially for 700 plus units at that kind of PSF in this market? Whew, this is gonna be, well, anyway, let's take a look at this. This guy, like I said, I'm not gonna be personal, I'm just saying this particular opinion. He's saying that if several developers assess the sales potential of homes as being weaker due to the doubling of the ABSD, then wouldn't this particular bid, correct me if I'm wrong, if I interpret this particular comment the wrong way, he's saying that if the developers having seen this tender and not willing to bid, and there's only one guy who's willing to lowball everyone, throwing out 984 PSF PPR, so isn't that the market value? It's not wrong. Okay, I agree it's not wrong, but you don't just use it as like this is really the new market benchmark. Maybe because of many other factors, it can be the particular market because there is not much market in the first place. But is this necessarily the right time to sell? Is the government being forced to sell at this time or not? I don't think they are being forced to sell. If there's no demand, they will just keep it. Why do you have to force the government to sell? And the government is definitely not forced to sell. If I were the government, I wouldn't definitely want to force this sale, because I have a lot of people to answer to if I sell at this kind of price. So definitely, we don't take whatever opinions from all these news article as it is lah. We also have their own opinions. I'm not saying that my opinion is correct, but this is a little bit ridiculous to me. Later we'll talk about something that is a little bit more ridiculous. So obviously, if I'm the URA, I look at this price. This was the last transacted. This is only 70% of this, and this is the MRT right beside Marina South. This is probably URA's expression lah. Do you think that this is a joke or what? This is like the last time the Japura or whatever that was bidded here. That time they were just bidding 250 PSF PPR. This is obviously a joke. So are they thinking of it like a joke? Are they, come on guys, this is Marina. This is like not Pulau Ubin. Why are you trying this kind of luck? I know, there may not be demand. They obviously know there's not going to be much demand from developers at this point. But does this justify this kind of price or not? I agree this guy may have overpriced their bid, but it doesn't mean that you have a chance to go and try just because a low demand. It's like, unfortunately, just because let's say you're dating, just because there's no guy going after you doesn't mean that you have to settle for lower than what you're willing to compromise. I don't think so, right? I don't think people will want to sacrifice in terms of that. So in this case, why should the URA do the same? Then this one, last time Marina One, for those of you who don't really know, Marina One and Dual was a result of some land swapping deal between the Malaysian government and Singapore government. That was back in 2010. This was the news back from 2018. Obviously, I think by then Marina One has already been built. That was when Najib was still in power last time lah. So there were some lands they were being exchanged for 4 plots of Marina South and then 2 parcels of Ophir and Rochor. It was packaged in such a deal that it wasn't just given to the Malaysian government. There was still a stake of Singapore's domestic holding involved. So it wasn't like we just throw you this piece of useless piece of land and just go and do whatever you want with it. Singapore is still has a share in that. And why do they still have a share? I think the answer is quite obvious. Let's not really talk about it. But if you look at this, Marina One, the current one that was more of the land, one of that piece of land plots. Now the current development value is already about $7 billion. You're talking about this piece of land that was bidded just for $1 billion. And then the current older one, which is already running like more than 10 years worth of lease already, is still worth about 7 billion or more, because this article was back in 2018. Obviously this is going to be worth more now already. How does it justify to even sell this piece of land? Come on, guys. Yeah, I mean, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but I don't think this guy is. You don't understand that this is one of our most precious piece of land in Singapore. This is a CCR land. Yeah, I understand this is a 99 year, but if the government is going to be selling it cheaper than the OCR, it's hard to be a government, man. So this one we already talked about this. Then basically the whole article revolves around reasons of why the government still should be selling that piece of land despite the low price. So it was just saying that there's only one bid, so it's supposedly accurate reading. If you accept the bid, it may affect valuation. Please, this is exactly what I mean. If you accept the bid, then all the marina areas is already bad enough already. If you want to sell it at that price, it's going to make it worse. How are they going to answer to the business owners, the property owners, the shareholders, everybody else, all the foreign direct investment? Hey guys, my CCR is going to be it's actually very cheap now. You can imagine going to other places, other countries, their CCR, they are really, really core one, and then they are telling you that, hey, the suburbs are more expensive than the core. I don't think you are seeing these kind of things in any other countries lah. So it's really more complex than it seems it is. Then again, they are saying that the second and the third highest bid are very similar at this price, and that's why it's justifiable. Other than the previous one, this one we are talking about the Kingsford one. That one was bidder about 1,400 plus PSFPPR. Then this one was about 900 plus, going to about 1,000. And he was just trying to say that these two are justifiable because they are rational, they are reasonable bid prices because they are very close together. Come on, if you take a look at those two bidders, one is the Guocoland, the other one is CDL, and these two are actually interlinked somehow. They are not really direct competitors because both of them are linked to one of these giant companies, banks, which I shall not talk about this, but yeah, go and find out yourself. So what I'm trying to say is that these two, obviously if they're related, they want to bid something close to each other so they don't kill each other, but ultimately they still belong to the big family. Then why would they want to go crazy, right? Other than Kingsford, who really wanted this piece of land and they are trying to establish their footing in Singapore. So government obviously will achieve a higher land price in the future because of inflation and everything else. Maybe a market sentiment improve. Now is not exactly the best market sentiment, but it does not mean that there is no opportunities. So the government knows better. If you're trying to lowball me during this period, then unfortunately I'm not forced to sell. There is no fire timeline for me to sell, not like developers. Then okay, no, you don't want, you don't take long. It's just simple as it is. Causes of holding onto a vacant land parcel. Hey guys, come on. Yeah, there may be a cause of holding onto a land parcel. It's like basically HDB telling you, oh, we are running a net deficit. We all know that it's a left pocket, right pocket thing, left pocket, right pocket thing lah. So why do you have to? All these are like redundant things that you have to talk about. Why do you have to justify this? Come on. So yeah, I hope you understand that this is why I find this particular article, like I said, I'm not aiming the person. I'm finding that this particular article is really a little bit ridiculous in that sense. Home prices are overheating, yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, I know. I think there are other supplies in the area, and we already have quite some supply coming at this period. Eventually, home prices will still run because of incoming demand. It's just that now I don't think it is really running that much because the government has done pretty well to curb the overwhelming demand previously with the high supply, especially those that has been recently done up and TOP already. So they are kind of like cooling down the overwhelming demand over the next, I would say at least for the next few months until something happens again. Attractively priced homes at Marina Gardens Crescent will be well received by savvy buyers. I don't think the government wants to attract this kind of buyers. I mean, good things, if you know your Ferrari is going to be good and expensive, you want to attract the lower end of the crowd to come and drive a Ferrari. No, right? This is exactly not what Ferrari wants. Ferrari wants that particular demographic of buyers. They want to be associated with wealthy people. They don't want to be associated with the low SES or whichever it is. And this is exactly what the government don't want. Why would you want to make it? Why do you make this area received by attractively priced buyers who are attracted by all these attractively priced homes? Like why? So, yeah, I think this is quite a bunch of bull, especially if this price. Unless you're telling me that this particular piece of land was maybe sold at 1,300 plus as compared to Kingsford 1,400 plus, then this particular point will work. But the gap is a little bit too big. It's gonna kill Kingsford. This does not allow. I don't think there's any room for Kingsford to even do this at all. It may dent participation, yeah, but the government knows what is holding on to. This holding on to a prime piece of land, so period. The developer is not keen. Yeah, if you are not keen, then don't bother going lowball. It's just as simple as it is. Why, if you are really keen, why do you bother lowball? Kingsford really wanted that piece of land. That's why they saw the worth of it and then they bid on it. Why would you want to lowball? Like example, that Japura particular, what do you call it? That company. Why would you want to bid 250 PSF? It's even cheaper than the EC for a prime site. It's just wasting time. So why would you want to attract a developer that is not keen in the first place? And the worst part is maybe they will even screw out the whole project because they are not keen, right? And this is not what the government wants to attract. Missed opportunity to speed up. Why would you, the government, I don't really think they are in a really, really big rush to develop the Marina South. They have other more important areas to focus on, especially given the last master plan promise. Then let's take a look at the pieces of land in recent months, I would say. Yeah, not even like probably just up to half a year ago. Media Circle was just launched around that same period as the Marina Gardens Crescent one. They were bidded and awarded at almost 1,200 PSF. Can you imagine this is like RCR region selling more expensive than Marina Gardens Crescent? Hey, how does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. EC 700 already PSF PPR. Can you imagine 300 PSF more than the EC at Tengah for Marina? How does it even make sense anymore? Marina Gardens, this is the Kingsford one, which I'll not talk about already. Toa Payoh is going to be like 30% higher than Marina Gardens. That's just assuming that the government did award at 984 PSF APR. Clementi Clementi, ultimately, yeah, I agree. Clementi is a mature estate. It is high demand, but 25% more expensive than Marina. Clementi is still almost one stop to Jurong East already, right? It is really close to Jurong East. It's really like that west side, not like the extreme west, but it's like more of the west than the central kind of places already. And you're telling me it costs 25% more than Marina Gardens? Like, I really gotta scratch my head too. My hair is dropping. My hair is really dropping. Probably if they do a walk, my hair will really drop. Pine Grove also, supposedly some people say ulu yada yada here and there, but they don't really know. So anyway, not everyone really knows, but they are already sold 32% higher than what Guocoland was trying to bid for Marina. So based on this, we can see how does it justify, if you were URA, why would you want to justify selling at this kind of price? What point are you trying to prove? How are you going to answer to the stakeholders? How are you going to answer to the general population? Our CCR, our prime piece of land is going to be more expensive. It's going to be much cheaper. So guys, remember to go and buy Marina. Like, huh? It's not going to reflect well on Singapore at all, because there's a lot of macro factors involved. Then these are articles that are like 12, 13 years old already. Last time they were saying that, this particular piece of Paya Lebar land that was not awarded, and then some Marina View tenders that were awarded because there was some hotel component here and there. Let's just see, they were just basically, all these articles were just saying that this is actually from the URA guy last time. We do not review the reserve price because it may deter some developers from bidding. You don't want to review the reserve price because the system is supposedly doing quite well already. Some tenders may be below the reserve price, but there are a lot of other factors involved before they really award it out. What other factors they are not going to be telling us, but I think we won't know everything, but some of the factors I think is quite commonsensical. You don't really need them to tell you. It's like growing up, you don't need people to tell you every single rule in society to really know. You just know, unless you really have no idea. So obviously, I think some people are just trying their luck to test the government, to piss off people, which I don't agree with. But all these are quite nonsense lah. It's like, some lawyers just basically try to twist words to their own advantage. But it's kind of bullshit. But you just have to respectfully disagree. But yeah, anyway, let's not go into that. URA was saying that last time it has awarded even below the reserve price. They are not exactly telling you which one are the ones below reserve price, but they don't tell you because they don't want people to cluster around that reserve price, because it will not be the true market value. Who knows, maybe like what we say, market value shouldn't be determined by the government. If you go and tell them the reserve price, then how is it really considered market value? And that is what the government's rationale is, and I agree that I agree with their stand. Basically, I'm not saying that everything they do is correct, please don't get me wrong, but certain things like this, I think I have to agree. I can't help but agree that they are doing it for the right reasons, that we don't anyhow mess around, especially we are talking about hundreds and millions or billions of dollars, because we are selling land in very land scarce Singapore. We have to be very particularly careful when it comes to dealing with large amounts of money like this, because there's gonna be general elections involved. It's not gonna be as simple as that. That's what people have to understand. Okay, then over here, I think this is this particular point. This one was the most recent cooling measures back in April. But you realize, again, I talk about this a lot of times already. Almost all the cooling measures after they come in, Mr. Desmond Lee, our M&D minister, if I remember correctly, he will always say, we will do blah 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 to meet housing demand and to keep the property market stable and sustainable. This particular phrase always come up regardless of which cooling measure. Every time the cooling measure comes up, this particular phrase always come up. This is their goal. That's why I think this particular message, if they keep sending this, they keep sending this again and again and again and again and again. What are they actually trying to tell you? They're not trying to tell you that we are not here to crash the market. We don't want the market to crash, and we don't want the market to fly that fast either. We want it to be stable and sustainable. And if you do end up awarding that land at that price, you're going to cause a lot of market instability. I think that's simple as it is. So I feel this is a very good move by URA, and that's why I think potential impacts wise, if they do award this, then the property market is gonna flip. Everything else is gonna be selling very cheap. Then that will be not something that what the government want, because it's gonna cause a lot of market instability. And there's a reason why our market is still so stable at this point, even though there's a lot of things going on in the world. But Singapore is generally still protected thanks to our numerous cooling measures, and also a lot of other measures that is involved on top of the property that is helping to stabilize our economy and to help cushion impacts from the outside world, especially like example of interest rates. We have Federal Reserve already base pays at 5+%, but we are still having SORA at 3 point something percent. Do we always follow the world? Are we actually living in a comfortable, protected environment? Yes, we are not having houses that are cheap. But if you're telling people that, hey, we are having mortgages at how many? 3+%. People, it's so cheap. Even Malaysia is having much cheaper than us. And that's why I think we have to understand from the point of view of the policymakers why certain things are as it is. Okay, and all in all, I think it's a good move that the government is not awarding that particular piece of GLS. I applaud them for that, and because it really is vital. It is a very important move to help stabilize the market. And that will be all we have for today. So make sure you like, share, subscribe if it helps you, and see you guys. Bye bye.